Don't disrespect yourself trying to earn the respect of others. I say that for a reason. There's a story behind me saying that, and the intent of this video is to talk about letting people miss out on you. Specifically for myself, I've had situations where I found myself disrespecting myself, lowering my self-worth and boundaries to earn someone else's acceptance. The interesting thing about this is that I usually don't do that. I'm someone who enforces boundaries, sets limitations, calls people out on their actions, and constantly demonstrates self-respect. But what I've noticed and started to become aware of is that with certain people, I allow them to do things I normally wouldn't tolerate. This will look different for everyone. Some people lower their self-respect around those they think have more money, those they view as better, or those who are older. They start to diminish their own self-worth because they see these people as somehow better, idolizing them in some way over themselves. Recently, I realized how I was letting certain people get away with certain behaviors without calling them out like I usually would. This ties back to letting people miss out on you because sometimes that's exactly what you have to do. It's never worth trying to force people into your life or earn their acceptance if it costs you self-respect. If it means allowing them to cross boundaries, putting on a facade, or pretending to be someone else, it's just not worth it. There will be times when you allow certain people to get away with small things, depending on who they are. We all have people like that. We might let a best friend get away with things we wouldn't tolerate from an acquaintance. We might be more forgiving with someone who's been in our life a long time. But even then, there has to be a limit. What I've come to understand is that people become comfortable with whatever we normalize for them. If people in your life are taking certain actions without consequence, believe it or not, they're testing the respect you have for yourself. We all do it subconsciously, especially with boundaries. People might wonder, is that boundary real, or can I cross it and get away with it? How much can I get out of this person? Many people do this without realizing it. For example, bullying happens because when people see you allow a certain way of talking, they think they can keep pushing. But with others, they know to back off because that person will stand up for themselves. So what I had to realize is that people will get comfortable with whatever you allow. If you never check people, they'll get comfortable behaving however they want, testing the limits until you finally say stop or no. That's why it's crucial to know your boundaries and not let certain behaviors become normalized. It could be something as simple as people borrowing money. They might keep asking because they know you struggle to say no. Or people might continue calling you out of your name because they know you're not going to do anything about it. People might consistently show some level of disrespect towards you. It may not even be intentional. It's all subconscious. When it gets to a point where people subconsciously disrespect you, they're just like, oh, I'm not even disrespecting him. That's what he's always allowed me to do. They don't even see it as disrespect, just as something that's permitted. When it gets to that point, you know you're in bad territory. That's when you realize you really have to start enforcing boundaries. What I've come to understand is that it's way harder to earn back respect once it's lost. If you've normalized certain behaviors in a relationship, it's difficult to change that dynamic without the other person seeing you in a different way. That's why it's essential to enforce boundaries early on so these behaviors don't become the norm in your relationships. For myself, and probably many of you as well, enforcing boundaries can be intimidating because you fear their reaction. You might wonder if they'll still accept you, if they'll still want to be in your life when you stand up for yourself. That's where letting people miss out on you comes into play. Some people just aren't worth it, and some people aren't right for you. If you allow people in your life who don't respect you, then you can't trust them, nor can you expect them to put in effort or show up for you when you need them. You have to ask yourself, is lowering my standards, lowering my boundaries, and trying to force this person into my life even good for me? What value do they actually bring? Sure, they may have certain qualities, status, good looks, or other desirable traits, but don't let that make you overlook all the negative aspects they also bring, like disrespect or toxic behaviors. A lot of people, especially guys, might overlook red flags in relationships because they're focused on the good. She's pretty, she's supportive in this area, she understands me. But what about when her toxic side shows? What about her habits, the way she treats your friends, or how she interacts with others? Sometimes we get so caught up in the good that we overlook the bad, even when it outweighs the good. The allure of having a pretty girlfriend or someone to talk to might make you ignore the red flags. But at what cost? I'm speaking from experience here. I've been through this with multiple people. Now I'm becoming more aware and I'm starting to change certain habits, boundaries, and limitations. I'm bringing things to light, and I'm okay with however people react. Some people may not want to stay in my life because they won't accept this new version of me, and that's fine. Some people just won't adapt to these new boundaries. And realizing that they can't get away with certain things that they were able to get away with in the past, even when you make certain mistakes with people or you do people wrong, at some point in time, you're going to do something negative to another person. Whether it's accidentally hurting them, accidentally disrespecting them, or accidentally making some mistake in some way, shape, or form, they may hold a grudge against you. But one thing you have to realize is that an apology is enough. Taking the step to actually start making changes within yourself is enough. What you shouldn't do is get into this headspace where you think you owe that person something. That's the headspace I got into, where I felt I owed another person all these different things. As a result, I lost respect for myself. Never get into a situation where, because you messed up, you start diminishing your own worth in an effort to get their respect or trust back. Don't allow someone to cross all your boundaries or stop holding them accountable for their actions. Don't start normalizing things that you don't usually normalize. Sometimes you have to realize that if you make certain mistakes with certain people or in certain relationships, it's okay to change, to own up to your actions, to ask for forgiveness, and to apologize. But don't let that diminish the respect you should still have for yourself. Don't let it make you put this person on a pedestal, as if you have to earn their acceptance all over again. When you do this, some people won't accept the new version of you. They won't forgive your mistakes or abide by your boundaries. Some people might even feel entitled, as if you owe them something and that you should try to make up for your past actions by sucking up to them. They may not accept your apology or appreciate the changes you're making, and they'll expect more out of you. That's when you have to draw the line. You have to set a limit. If you keep trying to become the person they want you to be just to gain their approval, it's going to be a painful experience, and you'll end up losing respect for yourself. You won't feel good about yourself. As I've said in past videos, sometimes people just aren't meant to be in your life forever. Sometimes they come and go. They're only part of a chapter or a season in your life. You might lose certain people now, and they could come back later. Or maybe they were there for a long time and now they aren't. People are temporary, and nobody is truly permanent in your life. The people in your life now might look completely different in a year or in 3, 5, or 10 years. Things change because people come and go for various reasons. Sometimes you just outgrow each other, or people move away. There are all these different reasons why people come and go, and I don't want you to get caught up in trying to keep everything the same. Don't diminish your own self-respect to try and keep someone around. Remember, people are wants, not needs. Anyone in your life can be replaced, and there are better people out there for you. If God decides this person isn't for you, or you need to remove them from your life, don't get attached to the idea of keeping them around. Sometimes there's someone better out there for you, if better suited to the current season of your life or the person you are now. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I hope you learned something, and I hope this brought you some value. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Now, you can watch the recommended videos on the screen. Catch you guys in the next video.